Hello, on behalf of Dell and our channel partners, I'd like to welcome you to today's presentation, Whiteboarding with Will. My name is William Urban. I'm a product solutions engineer here at Dell. In this session, we're going to talk about how a virtualized environment can introduce some new challenges for protection strategies. We're going to talk about 4 different tiers of protection and how administrators can implement that to provide additional layers of protection in their environment. As more and more companies are virtualizing their entire data center, there's a fundamental shift in thinking in how to protect all of these new assets. Unlike in the past where you would basically either put a backup agent on a single server or take care of individual servers as single entities, when people are virtualizing their entire data center, now you have to start looking at these virtual entities as separate from the physical entities. So it's kind of a change in thought, and we've kind of come up with a multi-tiered data protection strategy. And the Dell EqualLogic PS Series Array comes with multiple features and abilities to help you with protecting all these stuff. Whether it's snapshots, whether it's clones, replicating to a disaster recovery site, all of these tools can help augment your current protection process. We're not talking about actually taking away your tape process, your backups, everything like that you normally do, but instead these are to help add an additional layer of protection to your virtual environment. One of the reasons being is that in today's 24/7 data center, and now that you're virtualizing and you're putting so much stuff on the same type of hardware, if you take a backup at 6 o'clock at night on one day, and something happens at 5 o'clock the next day, you've basically lost 23 hours of productivity. In today's environment, that's just not acceptable anymore. So these are multiple tools that will help augment and help your current and traditional disaster recovery and data protection plans. When we talk about this, we actually break it up into 4 different tiers. When you talk about your most important business assets, it's going to be your financial database, your email server, your file server. Those are the kinds of things that you can't reinstall from a CD or you can't bring back from some other traditional backup method, except for it being relatively out of date. So when we talk about one of the most important things for protecting your virtual data center is protecting these application data pieces, whether, again, it's your file server, your application data, things like that. Dell EqualLogic has multiple ways to do this, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. The second tier of this disaster recovery and data protection plan is protecting the virtual machines that all this stuff resides on. While you can easily redeploy a virtual machine, you can easily reinstall your operating system. If for some reason something happens to the virtual machine, you want to be able to recover it as quickly as possible and from a point in time that's as recent as possible. And so we have some tools that are available to help you do that. The third tier of this protection scheme is the actual physical infrastructure. It doesn't matter how good your virtual protection is, if the physical underlying hardware that all this stuff resides on isn't highly available, highly resilient, and scalable. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Dell provides these features to provide a better physical underlying structure to your virtual environment. The last tier is when you're talking about protecting the entire data center. So if something happens, whether because the building's underwater or the power's out for a couple of days, you want to know that you can bring all of this information, this virtual environment, online over here at your disaster recovery point. Dell EqualLogic has things like built-in replication, combined with VMware Site Recovery Manager to help automate a lot of these things. So these are the 4 tiers of data protection and disaster recovery that we're going to be talking about and showing how all of the different tools that come included with the PS Series Array and along with VMware's tools will help you manage and create these additional tiered protection strategies.